Just press the big one. It's recording now if you want to do it.
Go on then.
Right, do I look alright? Tell me how to sit.
Straight up my bee. Not like I want to be. Yeah.
Do I look alright?
Gorgeous.
Do I look handsome?
Always.
Right, okay. Right, stop laughing.
I'm eating cucumber, sorry.
No, I can hear her.
I was hiding my cucumber eating from the camera.
Right, stop eating cucumber and stop laughing. Right. Right, will we start again?
3, 2, action.
Right. Hi guys and girls, how you doing? I thought we'd just do a little sort of quick video, questions and answers video. I get
In my new crib.
in my new crib, welcome to my new house. The voice you just heard, that was my fiance, the lovely Amy. She's going to pick 15 or 20 questions at random. I could never answer all the questions. We get just so many questions, it's unbelievable. So Amy's got to pick some just at the last that I've been asked in the last wee video, and we'll go for there. So say hello, Amy.
Hi.
So there you go. What's your first question? Who's it from?
Conor Reardon.
Con O'Riordan.
Yeah. He said, well, Con O'Riordan.
Con O'Riordan.
What's better, F1 or WRC?
It's hard to say. I watch the F1 religiously, but I like I like the way it's filmed and stuff like that. It's really good. The WRC, I think, is actually it's probably more intense as a motorsport, but the way it's laid out, because it's sort of over time sections rather than an actual race, it's not quite as good to watch on the television, I don't find. Still interesting, but more from a sort of technical point of view. So I prefer F1, definitely. What's next?
Scott's Pie 501 says, what do you add to snow foam to get the shine?
There's nothing really you can add to it. Sometimes I've seen myself adding a little bit of sort of film remover to snow foam just for a wee bit of extra cleaning ability, especially in the winter. But generally, it depends on what snow foam you're using. Snow foam is actually should just be used like as a soap or a lubricant. The one I use mostly is Built Hamber Auto Foam. It's really good and it actually cleans really well, but you're always going to have to agitate. A lot of people seem to think that you put snow foam on, blast it off with your pressure washer, and that's that job done. If you're able to do that, you're probably using too strong a dilution of detergent or snow foam, I'd say definitely.
Okay, Shawnee says, what car has been the most enjoyable to clean?
Oh, what car has been the most enjoyable to clean?
Mine.
But I don't suppose. Customers car wise, I like the sort of older stuff. I done a Hillman Imp for a guy last year. It was like an old classic Hillman Imp, and it just caught my imagination. I really liked it. Same as old classic Beetles and things like that. When I get asked to do them, I always really enjoy it. People say about the Porsches and the Aston Martins and stuff like that. They're good and they make good money, but it's not the cars that I really like working on. I like working on the older, more classic stuff, if I'm honest.
Okay. Vaping DJ says, when you started valeting and detailing, did you start mobile or go straight into the unit? And what are the rough startup costs?
I went straight into a unit actually. Initially I wanted a unit because I wanted to do sort of car repairs and things like that at first. But I started, when I was doing the valeting, people kept coming back for the valeting. I ended up just sort of doing the car cleaning as a sort of sole thing, well, 99%. Startup cost wise, it depends massively on what area you're in, but it's more expensive than what you would generally think. You won't make any money. Well, you'll be lucky if you can make money in your first year. You're doing really well, definitely. But you'll invest everything you make in your first year in getting better equipment and things like that. So on a whole, I think it was about 3 years before I actually made the same annual wage as what I was making in a normal job working for somebody else before I went self-employed. So you've got to bear that in mind. If you're building a business, it's going to take 3 or 4 years just to build it and get a good customer base behind you, generally speaking.
James Bartlett says, what are the best and worst quality cars you have cleaned?
Best quality cars. Best quality stuff's always like Mercedes-Benz and things. German stuff, the carpets, everything, the seats, they always clean really, really well. Exterior wise, Bentleys actually, they've got really, really good paint on them. The paint on them, it's really, really good, and it's brilliant to polish, and it's really thick as well. But as a whole, you're looking at Mercedes and Audi. Actually, high-end Audis are always really well finished as well.
What about worst quality?
Worst quality cars. The worst quality cars I find are actually your base model Fords and stuff like that. The carpets on like your Ford Kas and stuff like that. Really, really basic. But everybody's got their sort of price range, and Ford cater for that. And there's nothing wrong with Ford Kas. They're just built to a certain budget, and that's the way it is. Cheap car for people with either a small budget or maybe people that just don't want to spend a lot of money on their cars. That's fine.
Blinky Fish says, what brand of magic erasers do you use?
Blinky Fish.
Blinky Fish.
It's quite a good one. Auto Glim magic erasers. I put all my, I've recently started putting all my sort of links to some of the stuff I use in the videos. Auto Glim magic erasers, I find they're very, very good. Sorry, I've got hiccups. No, it was hiccups. Sorry guys and girls, I had a Chinese about half an hour ago, it's coming back. Anyway, what's next, Amy?
Yeah, it's not the bottle of wine either.
It's nothing to do with the 2 glasses of wine.
Mr. Blue Devil UK says, have you done a Rodney Trosser yet and accidentally gone home to your new house?
I've never actually gone home to the house. However, I have driven that way home a few times, or like if you're like going to do the shopping or whatever, you can automatically go a certain route, don't you? You come out the shops and you go right instead of left, and definitely you done it today, didn't you, Amy? You went to get your nails done. Amy went to get her nails done this morning and drove the wrong way home. But I don't think I've never actually got as far as going to the actual house.
Bradley Woodwards, how would you go about removing orange peel, paint overspray and clear coat damage to any bodywork on the car?
Carefully, really. Orange peel and overspray, you'd need to generally flat it back with sort of 2000 grit sandpaper, and then machine polish it out. Damage to the paint depends very much on what kind of damage it is. If it's, say, for example, a mark where there's bird muck's landed on it and it's eaten into the lacquer, sometimes you can get away with just wet sanding that with some really fine sandpaper and then polishing it out. If it's a key mark or something like that, if it's really deep, it might need paint. It just depends on the severity of the damage, definitely. You really need to inspect it to actually know what you're talking about. Anything else, you're just guessing.
So start again from the Yuma Calm.
Right, go again, because now I'm going to go like that in the video, aren't I?
Okay, Uma Khan says, will the new house get detailed?
Well, that's Amy's jurisdiction, isn't it? Amy, you going to detail the new house?
I will. I have.
Yeah, she has actually. She's done a great job cleaning it up before we moved our furniture in. She's actually got a massive range of cleaning products, Amy. It's ridiculous, actually. I mean, if they were detailing products, I would be stealing most of them for up at work, but I suppose it's all like Mr. Muscle and things like that. But incidentally, I might actually do a video on cars, cleaning cars with household products. Let us know if you'd like something like that. What's your next question?
Carlos Fandango says,
Carlos Fandango.
what is your favourite carnauba wax, your favourite sealant and all-in-one polish?
My favourite wax is actually a wax called Pinnacle Sovereign. It's not a wax that lasts very long. It's more a kind of show wax, but it leaves an amazing finish. It just looks, it makes the paint look soft to touch. It's that wet looking, it's great. If you want a wax that's going to last a long time, it's hard to beat. Sort of Fuso, everybody's heard of Fuso Soft 99, or Autoglim HD wax. I've also got like Finish Care and stuff like that. They last a long time, but my favourite wax is, it's a proper carnauba wax as well. It's Pinnacle Sovereign. All-in-one. What was the other ones? All-in-one and sealant.
All-in-one polish.
Sonak's Brilliant Shine Detailer is definitely a good shout, actually. That's a cracking sealant, especially for a sort of spray sealant. All-in-one polish. It's hard to beat some super resin polish. Autoglim super resin polish. It does everything pretty good. Doesn't last very long, but it leaves a great finish. And if you're going to do your car once a month with it, I mean, it only takes 10 or 15 minutes to go around the full car properly with it, and it wipes off really easy. Do it once a month and it does everything. It's really good, and it's cheap as well.
Christopher Joseph wants to know, do some products not work so well in different temperatures? Do you have problems washing cars on a freezing cold day? That's
a really, really good question, that, and the answer is yes, definitely. Your detergents especially, they don't want to work as good at low temperatures. You have to use a higher dilution in low temperatures. Things like your TFR, where, say for instance in the summer you're using them maybe 1 to 12 or 1 to 4, 1 part TFR to 14 parts water. In the winter you're down maybe 1 to 6. If it's really cold, just to get them to do the same job. Most waxes and sealants, they just don't want to know at that temperature. The waxes, when you put a wax on the paint, it needs to gas to let off the solvents in it. The solvents don't react as well in the cold, so they take ages to work, if they work at all. So quite often I'm having to get the cars indoors, put the door down and with a heater on just to get them waxed and stuff like that. This is the time where you really need, you really rely on like spray sealants like Sonak's Brilliant Shine Detailer and things like that. They come into their own in the sort of colder temperatures.
Round Green Thing says, what's the strangest item you have found that has been mistakenly left in a car?
A pair of rubber socks. Actually, somebody left some rubber socks in the boot of a car, and then no, like rubber socks.
Yeah, like Veruca socks that you'd wear when you were going swimming if you had a Veruca.
I don't know. I've never seen Veruca socks before. Anyway, there was a pair of rubber socks in this car boot, and I hadn't actually seen them, but the guy came back. He left the car, and then half an hour later he came back for these rubber socks that were in the boot. Maybe they were Veruca socks, I don't know. Maybe the guy had really bad Verucas. I don't know.
Poor guy.
Poor guy, aye. I feel really sorry for him now. I wish I hadn't said that. Well, his name's Dave. He'll forever be known as Veruca Dave. Right. Have you got another one?
We should maybe like
just say the next question, Amy.
we should maybe do like a practice run.
No, we're not doing practice runs, Amy. It's bad enough doing it once.
Right. Fox Detail says, What steam cleaner do you use?
I use a Karcher steam cleaner actually, and it's a really good machine. It's a really old machine though, and they don't make it anymore. I can't even remember the model number. I'll try and find the equivalent though, and I'll put it sort of in the video somewhere here or something like that. You see all the cool YouTubers doing that, don't you? I'll put it there, and that'll be the sort of modern equivalent. I'll try that if that helps. You got another one?
Serge Azati says, how far is your shop from the beach?
About 3/4 of a mile. Nah, it's no more than a mile, innit? No, it's about 3/4 of a mile for the beach, and it's uphill the full way, so you wouldn't want to walk it. Have you got another one?
Eric Robinson wants to know, will magic erasers damage a car's windscreen? He's currently desperate to get rid of Gardex from the windscreen of his car, but nothing is working.
They won't damage your windscreen though, but if anything they'll probably just spread it about. What you really want is you want something like, you could try a solvent cleaner on it, like maybe like an isopropanol or something like that might take it off. But if it was me, I would try an actual glass polish on it rather than a glass cleaner. Like, you know, like Windoline glass polish, something like that, like a cream polish. Try that on it, that'll generally take anything off. Quite often get cars in and they've been up and down the motorway and you get a lot of diesel and oil and stuff like that on the motorway for trucks and stuff like that. And people complain that it smears as they put their windscreen wipers on. Generally, if I use a glass polish on them, I actually use an Autoglym glass polish, but I'm pretty sure Windoline's the same stuff. That takes it off, that gets rid of it. Have we got another?
Stratboy999 says, what has been the worst mistake you have made when detailing a car?
I've been there 12 years now, and I think there's been 2 mistakes that have cost me actual money. I was vacuuming a Ford Focus once, and the phone rang, and I lifted my head up and I caught the interior, the rear view mirror, and I just nudged it with my head and it put a crack right down the windscreen in this car. And trust my luck, it was a heated windscreen in the car, which meant expense. By pure luck, a friend of mine, a guy I know, he's got that's what he does, he fits windscreens. He had a windscreen out that afternoon and had it fitted the same afternoon, and the customer was absolutely none the wiser. The other one was, the first unit I had a tiled floor, and it was tiled when I moved in and it wasn't very ideal for when it got wet. I'd drive a car in, it was maybe dripping or something like that. Anyway, I slipped and I went to catch my balance and put a dent in the car, the front wing in the car. Battered it with my elbow, so I did, and landed. I still fell on my back. So I had to, I know, so I had to get that. In 12 years, that's the only 2 kind of proper mistakes that I've made that I've had damage. But you're in any business, you're always going to get stuff like that, and so long as you're honest about it, or you can deal with the problem, like the windscreen that was replaced that afternoon, it was about £400 or something like that to get that windscreen replaced, and I think the job was 40 quid, so I was down £360 that day. Or the front wing, I think that cost me £120 or £150 or something like that to get the wing resprayed. So long as you're prepared to put your hands up, speak to the customer, everybody's happy with that. I've never really had a problem. What was that, Amy? You throwing me a toy?
Moose's keys.
Is it Moose? Moose is hiding over here, by the way, just in case anybody's wondering. He doesn't want to be on camera today. Right, Amy.
Harry Harrison says, for someone like me who just cleans their own car, what would you recommend as must-haves? I haven't got a lot of money for all the products, so it'd be cool to know what ones would be the best ones to start with.
Hi Harry, how you doing? You don't actually need that much, really. I would start with, get yourself a decent shampoo, like a Maguire's shampoo or something like that. Whatever you do, don't be tempted to use anything like Fairy Liquid or anything like that, because it will strip any wax or protection straight off your car. So always use a proper car shampoo. A decent wheel cleaner. In fact, I would get myself, if I was you, I would just get some G101. If you can go onto eBay or find an AutoSmart rep and get yourself some G101. I think for 5 litres of G101, it's about £14 or something like off the dealer. You maybe pay £20 on eBay or whatever. I don't know what it is on eBay, but it can't be much more expensive. But you can use G101 for cleaning interiors. You can even use it for cleaning seats and carpets if you use a low dilution. And if you use it sort of 1-to-1, so almost neat, you can use it as a great wheel cleaner. It's brilliant for doing door edges, and you can even clean engines with it. It's so versatile. On top of that, you want to get yourself some, you could get yourself a dressing, a plastic dressing or something like that. CarPro do a good CarPro Pearl. You could use that, sort of, you can water that down on your interior plastics. And then glass cleaner, you just use your normal household glass cleaner. Glass cleaner, the normal stuff for the pound shop's fine. More importantly for glass is using proper cloths for cleaning glass. And then on top of that, get yourself a wax. If I was to pick one wax, if I was on a budget, I'd probably pick Fuso Soft 99. It's one of those waxes that you hear mentioned all the time if you're on sort of car cleaning forums and stuff like that, and that's because it works. Just don't do it in an enclosed space, because the smell of it will give you a headache. But that's probably, I think that's 5 products there. And it's without, you could have them all in your collection for £50 or £60, and that they'd last you a long time.
Amber says, my boyfriend and I love watching your videos. What are some things that brighten your day?
Amy visits at lunchtime, so that brightens my day up every day. Well, most times. Moose, most of the time he brightens my day up. Every now and again he's an absolute nuisance. But actually, Amy was off work this week, so she had him a couple of days at home, and I did miss him actually, admittedly. And then obviously going home. Everybody likes going home, don't they?
Kerry Lou says, how old were you when you started your own business, and are you a mechanic as well as a detailer?
I was 25, I think, when I went self-employed. And yeah, I'm a mechanic to trade. I actually qualified as a mechanic, and that's how my dad ran a body shop doing spray paint and things like that. And I'd go there at the weekends and I'd wash the cars and stuff like that. So he taught me sort of how to wash a car, and I'd vac them out and stuff like that. And then I obviously went into the garages, and part of sort of being a mechanic and stuff like that is cleaning up after yourself. If a customer gets a big job done, you give them a valet afterwards. It's things like that. And then I decided to go on my own, and the valeting side, it just sort of interested me more at that point. I think I had been mechanicking on cars for 10 years by that point, and I needed a change. I was bored of it, so I went into the sort of the detailing side, and I haven't looked back really. It's been pretty good. I still do the odd bit of mechanical stuff here and there, mostly on my own cars, but yeah, 12 years ago.
And finally, Martin Haywood would like to know, when you see a dirty car, do you ever wonder what the house must be like?
Yeah, all the time. But the funny thing is that some of the people with the dirtiest cars, I go home, or maybe I'll drop them off at home or something like that, if they've maybe arranged to have their car collected or something, which isn't something I do very often anymore, but years ago I certainly did. You'd go in and their house would be absolutely immaculate, right? Because they were more interested, they cared their house was their world, if you like, and the car just, it was an overthought. It just didn't get a look in. So quite often you find the most disgusting cars, the people that own them have actually got a really clean house. Amy, for example, Amy doesn't look after her car whatsoever. It's always a tip inside.
It's not me though, it's the kids.
I blame the kids. But the house, she's really, really house proud. So it's one of those ones, really. Is that the last one then? Well, guys and girls, I hope you enjoyed that. Something a wee bit different for the normal car cleaning video. I've started the next car cleaning video. There will be a big car cleaning video out by the end of the week. So I hope you enjoyed that. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys and girls, and I'll see you next weekend, or maybe the end of next week, this week. Catch you later, guys and girls. Bye.